How's it going, everybody? My name is frontier.setter. My personal concealed carry weapon of choice is the USP compact. Before we begin, all guns in this video have been safety checked. As you can see, nothing in the mag wells, chambers have been cleared, and everything is safe. So, this is the USP compact, chambered in 9mm, made by Heckler & Koch. I've been carrying this gun for quite a bit now, and I obviously carry the firearm Appendix inside the waistband, and this is my holster right here. This is the Hitchhiker holster made by T5 Custom Kydex. And I like this holster simply because it gives me an extra mag caddy, which is quite handy because I don't have to carry a mag in my pocket, and I don't have to worry about carrying a separate mag caddy. So why did I choose the USP compact? Well, let's start off with a comparison. This is the compact, and this is the full size. Let me switch these around here. As you can see, the full-size USP is quite a bit larger than the compact version. And that's to be expected. The thing is, the widths of both of these guns are pretty much the same. So you're going to be carrying kind of a heavy brick of a gun here when you're carrying something like a USP. But there's something about the weight and overall heft of this that makes me feel like it has a sense of durability to it, and I like that. One of the biggest advantages between the full size and the compact USP is that the compact one can actually use the same mags as a VP9, which uses the same mags as a P30, and I think the P2000 also is compatible with these. So I have two rounds that I usually use for personal defense. They are both made by Hornady, and this one is actually the one I carry on my person, is the critical duty rounds. And for my home defense gun, which I have laying on my bedside there, is actually the Hornady TAP rounds. I think the critical duty rounds have a little bit more grain in them. I think this is a 135 grain, and the TAP rounds is a 124 grain. So unlike my my VP9 here, I pretty much left my USP stock. Everything in this gun is still from the factory, except for the oil, of course. If you've ever held a full-size USP, the compact, I can't say that it's the same thing, but it pretty much has that same amount of heft. It's just, when you pick it up, you know that you have something heavy and substantial in your hand. And is that the best thing for a concealed carry gun? Not really. You have to admit, this gun is quite heavy, and you feel it when you carry it. But I kind of like that. I kind of like the weight and the heft, as I mentioned before, because it shows that this gun is overbuilt, and it can withstand a whole mess of rounds through it. You don't really have to worry about maintenance as much. You don't have to worry about the gun blowing up in your hand due to, I don't know, a bad round or, you know, something that's too high pressure. This gun is meant to be able to take everything that you give it. One of the reasons why I kept these sights stock, and this isn't exclusive to the USP or any HK gun, is because the sight picture is actually a European style. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but the point of aim is actually the point of impact. So what I mean by that is when you aim, you actually want to hover the front sight over your intended bullseye. And I feel like when you're shooting close, you know, 10, 15 yards or so, 7 yards, you don't have to worry about cutting the target in half or anything like that. You just kind of hover your front sight over what you want to hit and pull the trigger, and the gun will do the rest of the work. So there's a couple big reasons why I didn't want to carry a striker-fired gun. One of the reasons is namely safety. I know what people are saying. If you're safe with your trigger, if you're safe with your reholstering, you shouldn't have any issues. And I agree with that. But I feel like having a double-action, single-action, hammer-fired gun kind of gives you a little bit more. It gives you one more layer of protection on top of that. So what do I mean when I mean safety? Well, I carry this gun in condition 2. What that means is I have a mag inside. I have the gun actually chambered, and I carry it decocked. this safety lever is actually decocking lever as well. So I carry a decocked, and the first pull of the gun is heavy. So let me clear the gun. So when the gun is decocked, the first pull is quite heavy. There's a long travel, and you can see the hammer pull back. And it's a pretty smooth pull. It's heavy, but it's smooth. And the reason I like that on a concealed carry gun is because once you draw that weapon, it kind of gives you that split second to think, do I really want to change my life forever? In the time of stress, you can just blast away. It's no issue. But I feel like just that stiffness gives you a little bit more clarity in thought. Because it's a heavier pull and a heavier travel, you can feel that hammer going back. And also, again, adding another layer of protection when you carry it in double action. Another thing that's nice about the bobbed hammer is that it's a bobbed hammer. So when you holster it or when you unholster it, it doesn't get caught in any clothes or anything like that. So when I holster this weapon, I like to put my thumb on the back of the hammer here, which prevents it from being fired, at least without extreme difficulty. So what I'll do is, I'll just kind of do this, and then I'll guide it back in. And, you know, you never know if a piece of your shirt or something could be caught in the trigger guard. And this, like I said before, gives me an extra layer of protection. The trigger has to move quite a bit before the gun can go boom. That's the double action portion. Once the gun is fired, the sight will rack back. And this will leave it in single action mode. As you can see, the trigger reset is pretty small, and that is the wall. There's a little bit of take up, and that's the wall. And it's a really crisp break. And that's the other thing about hammer fire guns. I think generally, out of the box, from the factory, hammer fire guns, their triggers are generally smoother, and they break a lot more crisper. Is that a word, crisper? So I used to be one of those people that was all against external safeties, and I can see why. External safeties, you know, they protrude a little bit, and they're kind of big. But in my case, oh yeah, and one crazy thing I used to think was, what if you accidentally flip the safety up? As you can see, it takes a little bit of effort. Or what if you accidentally decock your gun while you're shooting? The thing about this is that it's a pretty stiff mechanism. You really have to deliberately pull it and push it and pull it down to have it do what you want it to do. So when you're just taking it out of your holster, you won't trip up those functions. Another feature I like about the USP is its mag release. It's a paddle design, and as you can see, it's pretty small, but it works well. It's a lot smaller than the full-size USP, and it's definitely a lot smaller than the VP9's mag release right here. The great thing about paddle-style mag releases is that they're inherently ambidextrous. You don't have to worry about putting the button to either side. You can swap hands, and it'll work the same both ways. There's different ways to use it, too. Some people find themselves using their thumb, similar to the button release right here. A lot of people use their index finger, and some people use their middle finger. I'm one of the people who uses their middle finger to release the mag. The nice thing is you don't have to change your grip. And I know you've probably heard this statement before, but it really does make a difference when you don't have to, reach over for a button and reload. But I'm not a competition shooter by any means, so speed isn't like necessarily super important for what I do. It's just my personal preference. The takedown for the USB Compact is the same as the USP. You rack the slide back, you pull the slide until it hits the groove there, and you push the pin out, and then the gun's out. It's not the most intuitive way to strip a gun, but I think it works well and it's effective. And the nice rod that's inside that holds all the guts in is pretty robust. So one last reason why I carry the USP. Even though it is not the most modern gun anymore, there's a whole bunch better concealed carry options than this one. There's a whole bunch lighter and smaller and all the other stuff. I just like this gun because I just think it looks really, really cool. Now, I know that's kind of a stupid statement, but I feel like this gun was like, it just oozes the 80s. Like all the sharp angles you have here, it just kind of reminds me of the 80s. You don't really see many guns made this way anymore. You know, everything's really streamlined now. Everything's kind of rounded off, with a few exceptions, of course. But I feel like once you hold a USP and you get a chance to kind of shoot it and you know bear the weight of it, you'll kind of fall in love with the platform, as I did. This wasn't always my concealed carry weapon of choice, but it is now. And those are kind of my thoughts on this. I would definitely like to hear what you guys all carry. If it's a MMP, if it's a Glock, if it's a CZ, if it's, you know, I would definitely like to know in the comments if anybody is watching this video. So yeah, that about wraps it up. Always remember to stay safe, stay humble, and stay tactically kawaii.
All that's left is a window to my soul. Come and get it.